Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining me from. Welcome to day 12 of our Grace campaign. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm enjoying this campaign. I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm also learning as well, in as much as I'm the one sharing. If today is your first day of joining me, the Grace campaign is a 30-day journey that I embarked on so that I can share more light on the grace of God and help you to understand it better and also experience it in your life. And it is based and taken from my latest book, Mama Grace. Mama Grace is my latest book that's just been released. It's my third book. The feedback I'm getting has also been very encouraging. The people that have read the book or are reading it right now are sending me messages that I'm saying, wow, I didn't know it would minister to people like this. So I'm so happy. So keep the feedbacks coming. I want to keep hearing them. I want to keep hearing your thoughts. And if you don't yet have a copy of this book, you can get it right now. You can go on Amazon and order the paperback copy, just like the one I have, or you can order a digital version because it's available on Amazon in both paperback and in Kindle version. And on okadabooks.com, it's also available as a digital book. So if you live in Africa, just get the Okada book apps on your phone or just download it to your tablet or computer and begin to enjoy the book. We are in such times now that we have varieties of ways of accessing materials. So you don't have any excuse to be ignorant. So make sure you get a copy of the book. So I started by talking about the abuse of grace yesterday, and I'm still going to continue on that subject. Yesterday, I made us to understand what grace, what abuse means. So if you missed the video, go back and watch it. You can get it on the videos library on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. So now, how do we abuse grace? Because I established yesterday that grace can be abused. How do we abuse grace? There are many ways that grace can be abused, and I talked about different ways in the book. But for the purpose of this grace campaign, I'm just going to share one of those ways with you. And one of the ways that grace can be abused is when we continue to sin. When you continue to sin. You hear a lot of Christians say, oh, we are living under grace, we are living under grace. And because of that, it's like living under grace gives them a license to continue to sin. But I want to make you to understand that that is not what grace is for. Grace is not a license to sin, but rather grace has come as an enablement to help you to live above sin. If you look at Romans chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, from the New Living Translation, it says, well then, should we keep on sinning so that God can show us more and more of his wonderful grace? Of course not. Since we have died to sin, how can we continue to live in it? This is what the Bible says. Shall we continue to live in sin so that God can continue to show us more and more of his grace? And the answer is, of course not. The answer is definitely a no. God has given us the enablement to live above sin. That is what his grace is for. The grace is not a license to continue to sin. There was an article I read that made this come alive so much in me. And a quote from that article said that grace is no more a license to sin as electricity is a license to execute yourself. We all know the use of electricity. It does many wonderful things to us. Without electricity, the quality of life that we have today will not be up to what we are enjoying right now. I'm able to record this right now because my computer is plugged to electricity. I'm using lightning that is being supplied by electricity. So electricity makes life easy for us. It enhances the quality of our life. It helps us to accomplish a lot of things. But you find that the current that electricity produces can also electrocute you. So electricity is not a license. Okay, electricity is not a license to execute yourself. So you find that so comparing it with grace, the person said, grace is no more a license to grace is no more a license to sin, as electricity is a license to execute yourself. So grace will help us to do so many things. It will make life easier for us. It will help us to function at capacity that is beyond our natural ability. It will give us, it will present us with a lot of opportunities and gifts. But does that mean we should abuse it? The answer is no. God's grace is not for abuse. So each time you begin to misuse the grace of God, and one of those ways that you misuse it is to continue your lifestyle of sin. You say you are now a Christian, but you are still continuing in the lifestyle of sin. It is not right. The grace of God is not a license to sin. It is rather a license to enable you to live above sin. So there are many other ways that grace can be abused, and I talk about those different ways in the book. I won't be able to share everything with you because of the time that I have, but if you read this book, you will find out many other ways that grace can be abused. And tomorrow I'm going to tell us what happens when grace is abused. So make sure you key in with me as we continue on this journey of the grace campaign. I'm sure you are enjoying it as much as I do. And if you are, why don't you share this video with your network so that other people also can learn about the grace of God and be blessed. And remember that if you don't have a copy of this book, you will get a fuller comprehension of grace and what I'm talking about and how to begin to enjoy it in your life when you grab a copy. So why don't you grab a copy today? Or if you have a copy, why don't you get one for a friend? You know someone that is struggling right now, and you know that the grace of God will do them some good. Why don't you get a copy of this book for them so that they too can be blessed? So once again, thank you for joining me for the 12th of the Grace Campaign. And I'll see you tomorrow again as we continue this journey. Until then, just stay blessed and continue to enjoy the grace.